Standing in the way of the princess's love was an entire monarchy.
Walking through the dimly lit corridors of a Madrid palace might seem like an honor to many, but for Princess Sofia, it had become nothing more than a habit. The silence of the palace often left her alone with the echoes of her own thoughts. The secret she held inside was too big to fit within golden ceilings or crystal chandeliers. No one knew yet, but the name of that secret was Pablo Gavi. It hadn't started at a football match. They had met during a charity event she attended due to royal protocol. Gavi, along with his teammates, was participating in a fundraising night for the youth. Sofia was there representing her family. That moment when their eyes met, it was as if a long-forgotten crack appeared in the palace's stone walls. At first, Sofia couldn't even name the feeling that filled her. She didn't know Gavi. They had never spoken. But there was something in his eyes, not emptiness, but something overwhelmingly full. In that gaze, there was the scent of freedom. Freedom from everything outside the palace. After that encounter, a quiet tab on Sofia's phone always remained open on Instagram. No one knew, but she watched Gavi's match highlights, followed his interviews, and felt his smile through the screen. Knowing that Gavi had no idea who she was, hurt. But at the same time, the secrecy felt like a protective shield. One day, she found a personal diary left in her mother, Queen Letizia's room. That inspired her to start writing her own. She wrote at night. On every page, there were innocent, sincere lines like, "Today Gavi scored a goal. I wish I could have watched it." The diary became her only confidant, but no secret stays hidden forever. In royal corridors, information spreads in whispers, and one day, a page from that diary accidentally ended up in Letizia's hands. New twist. Queen Letizia froze as she read the words. A storm raged inside her. She had just read her daughter's heart. But palace tradition did not allow such sentiments. Letizia briefly remembered a love she once had in her youth. She too had once loved beyond the palace walls, but she had become a queen, and queens rule with reason, not heart. That night, she spoke at length with King Felipe. "Sofia might be feeling this now, but Gavi?" she asked. "Footballers come and go. The monarchy is eternal." The king said nothing, but his silence was always dangerous. After that night, palace security around Sofia was tightened. Her access to social media was limited. Her public appearances were reduced. Most importantly, she was prohibited from attending events where Gavi would be present. Another strong beat. Sofia sensed it. She felt her mother's tension, her father's distance. Even though they tried to hide it, she realized she was losing control of her own story. And that hurt more than anything.
After 2 minutes, new revelation to keep viewer hooked, Sofia's admiration grew into an obsession, but not in a harmful way. It was more of an emotional escape, the expression of feelings that had been suppressed for years inside the palace. One day she found a personal diary left in her mother, Queen Letizia's room. That inspired her to start writing her own. She wrote at night. On every page there were innocent, sincere lines like, "Today Gavi scored a goal. I wish I could have watched it." The diary became her only confidant. But no secret stays hidden forever. In royal corridors, information spreads in whispers. And one day, a page from that diary accidentally ended up in Letizia's hands. New twist. Queen Letizia froze as she read the words. A storm raged inside her. She had just read her daughter's heart. But palace tradition did not allow such sentiments. Letizia briefly remembered a love she once had in her youth. She too had once loved beyond the palace walls. But she had become a queen, and queens rule with reason, not heart. That night, she spoke at length with King Felipe.
"Sofia might be feeling this now, but Gavi?"
she asked. "Footballers come and go. The monarchy is eternal." The king said nothing. But his silence was always dangerous. After that night, palace security around Sofia was tightened. Her access to social media was limited. Her public appearances were reduced. Most importantly, she was prohibited from attending events where Gavi would be present. Another strong beat, Sophia sensed it. She felt her mother's tension, her father's distance. Even though they tried to hide it, she realized she was losing control of her own story. And that hurt more than anything. That night, she wrote only one sentence in her diary. "Before my love becomes a scandal, perhaps I must stay silent forever." But the heart doesn't stay silent so easily. Sophia developed a quiet resolve, a silent rebellion. She could no longer watch Gavi's matches live, but she downloaded old videos and saved them. She watched his charitable acts and convinced herself this was more than a crush, it was something meaningful. Another hidden detail. One day, among letters from children addressed to the royal family through a foundation, a thank you card came, written in Gavi's name. That card ended up in Sophia's hands. The message was simple: "You're a hero, off the field, too." But that sentence brought tears to her eyes. This was no longer just admiration. It had become a fight. Sophia's inner voice was louder than ever. "Why must I suppress my feelings? I just want to talk to him, just once, to look into his eyes." But a princess's dreams never quite fit inside royal protocols. End of part 1. To be continued. Some loves are silenced, but they scream from within. Princess Sophia's story was exactly like that. The mornings in the palace had become more tense. King Felipe, while sipping his coffee, started paying closer attention to the sports section of the newspaper. His eyes always paused on one name in every Barcelona headline. But he said nothing. Gavi. Rumors about the royal family's young daughter had not yet reached the press, but every whisper reaching Felipe's ears echoed like a bomb. Despite the restrictions from her family, Sophia had not given up on her feelings. She had only become more careful. She no longer kept her notes in a physical journal, but only in her mind. Every night before bed, she would re-watch one of Gavi's matches, memorizing his small gestures, his smiles on the field. Her heart still beat with his. But one evening, Letizia caught Sophia crying in her room. She was holding a newspaper clipping. Gavi had been seen dining with a female journalist. The tabloid headline screamed, "A new romance?" Seeing the heartbreak in her daughter's eyes, Letizia's maternal instinct took over. She hugged her, but she whispered quietly, "This is hurting you, Sophia. Think not just of yourself, but of your future." For the first time, Sophia raised her voice. "I'm a human, Mom, not just a princess. Why is loving someone such a crime?" Letizia's eyes welled up. She understood her daughter. But being right wasn't always enough. Meanwhile, Gavi wasn't silent either. He had started piecing together information from secret sources. He held a private meeting with his manager. "I just need a name. Who is this princess?" The manager nodded slowly. "I know the answer, but knowing can be dangerous," Gavi insisted. And that night, for the first time, he heard the name, Sophia. He wasn't shocked. He still remembered the handshake from that charity event. There had been a connection, but now that bond had become dangerous. Soon after, palace staff traced Sophia's secret second phone and noticed indirect connections to Gavi. There were no direct messages, but traces of surveillance were evident. Security protocols were tightened, but Sophia didn't give up. She had written in a small notebook she secretly brought into the palace, "Maybe we'll never sit at the same table, but in my heart, that table will always be set." Sophia was looking for a way out of the palace walls, and one night she did something unexpected. She devised a plan to sneak out of the palace. She quietly approached one of her personal guards, Tomas, who had protected her since childhood. "Take me to one of his matches. I just want to see him from afar, just once." Tomas hesitated at first, but when he saw the innocent longing in her eyes, he nodded. Perhaps he, too, had once known a love like that. That night was a first in royal history. Princess Sophia secretly went to Camp Nou. Throughout the match, no one recognized her. She watched the game like an ordinary girl, every drop of sweat from Gavi's jersey mixed with hope in Sophia's heart. At the end of the match, as Gavi waved to the crowd, she was there. But happiness didn't last long. When she returned to the palace that night, waiting at the door was King Felipe. "Sophia," he said in a firm but composed voice, "why did you do this?" "Because I can't silence the voice inside me, Dad. You've designed my life, but I'm only living a part of it." The king sighed deeply. This was a conversation between two people, a father and a daughter. "I'm trying to protect you. You're trying to cage me." That night, the palace halls remained silent, but Sophia would not stay silent any longer. Episodio 3, Corona y Corazón. La decisión de la princesa. Algún día, si te ves entre dos mundos, elige aquel donde puedas vivir tu verdadero yo. Cuando Sofía miró por la ventana esa mañana, el cielo de Madrid parecía más gris de lo habitual, pero la tormenta dentro de ella no tenía ni un solo color. Pensó en el nombre de Gavi. Solo ese nombre hacía que su corazón cambiara de ritmo. Pero ese era el día en que comprendió que sus sentimientos ya no serían suficientes. Porque frente a sus emociones había un gigante, la corona. Su madre, la reina Leticia, ya estaba sentada en la mesa del desayuno. Reinaba un silencio inusual. El rey Felipe abrió el periódico, pero ni siquiera pasó las páginas. Sofía lo sabían todo. Los mensajes con Gavi, los encuentros secretos, incluso aquella cena inolvidable en Barcelona, habían sido seguidos por los guardias reales. Su padre dejó el periódico y sin mirarla dijo: "Una princesa puede tener un corazón, pero una corona no se gobierna con sentimientos". Por primera vez, Sofía quiso gritar por dentro. Quería decir, "pero soy humana". Quería gritar, "solo amé", pero sus labios no se movieron. En ese momento, cruzó la mirada con su madre. En los ojos de Leticia había una empatía cansada. Quizás ella también había enterrado un amor años atrás. Cuando Sofía regresó a su habitación, encontró una carta sobre su cama. Sin sobre, solo escrita a mano. Una reina ama a su pueblo, pero a veces se olvida de sí misma. Hija, yo viví ese dolor, pero tú puedes no vivirlo. Era la letra de su madre. Temblando con la carta en las manos, Sofía se miró en el espejo. No vio su corona, solo sus lágrimas, y en ese momento tomó su decisión. Hablaría con Gavi por última vez. El futbolista del Barcelona, Gavi, había salido temprano del entrenamiento. Al revisar su teléfono, vio un mensaje de un número conocido. Solo Se acercaron. Se miraron por minutos sin decir palabra. Sofía tragó su primera frase, pero finalmente susurró: "No voy a recordar esto como nuestra última vez. ¿De acuerdo?". Gavi metió la mano en su bolsillo. Sacó una pequeña pulsera de cuero. Tenía una sola palabra grabada: libre. "Si la llevas puesta, siempre me sentiré cerca", dijo. Sofía tomó la pulsera. Asintió mientras intentaba contener las lágrimas. "Nunca quise demostrarte nada a nadie, pero a ti tenía que ser honesta". Minuto 8. Cuando regresó del encuentro, los muros del palacio le parecieron más altos que nunca. El rey Felipe la esperaba, de pie, solo, en el salón. Su rostro era firme. "Decide, ¿Seguir siendo princesa o dejar esta familia? El tiempo se detuvo. Miles de imágenes cruzaron la mente de Sofía. Su primer encuentro con Gavi, los rumores en la prensa, la presión familiar, la carta de su madre, la pulsera, y luego, el silencio. Finalmente habló lentamente. Antes de ser princesa, era solo Sofía, y necesito recordar eso. El rey no dijo nada, pero al darse la vuelta, Leticia le guiñó un ojo discretamente. Quizás, por primera vez, le estaba dando a su hija una oportunidad para sanar lo que ella misma no pudo. Minuto 10. Una semana después, el sitio oficial de la Casa Real publicó el siguiente comunicado. La princesa Sofía se tomará un receso de sus deberes oficiales. Debido a su formación y desarrollo personal, residirá temporalmente fuera de Europa. La prensa enloqueció. Algunos afirmaron que lo hacía por amor, otros que había sido expulsada. La verdad, solo estaba en el corazón de Sofía. Minuto 12. Después de un partido, Gavi fue al vestuario y encontró un sobre en su bolso. No tenía nombre, pero reconoció la letra. Al abrirlo, había una nota y la pulsera. En la nota solo decía: «La pulsera debe quedarse contigo, porque ahora yo soy libre». Debajo, una frase subrayada: «Corona o corazón, elegí el corazón». Minuto 14. Años después, en un documental, Sofía dio una breve entrevista. El periodista preguntó: ¿estuviste realmente enamorada? Ella sonrió. La realeza enseña a no creer en el amor, pero yo sí creí, y eso fue suficiente.